everybody, and welcome to my talk. I'm so excited to be here today. It is so exciting to see all the new exciting stuff happening in Angular. Angular 18 was just released, so you should definitely check out some of the blog posts. There was a really great one that Minko just wrote, and let's get started to my talk. So, today we're going to talk about the new Angular. Again, there is just so much happening here in Angular. We'll be covering a few things today. So, we're going to be talking about the new documentation. We're going to be talking about Material 3, the control flow syntax, signals, deferrable views, server-side rendering, basically all the stuff that was really exciting in 17 that is still progressing in Angular 18 today. And I lost my slides. Where are they? There we go. Okay. My name is Tracy. You can follow me on Twitter at Lady Leet or on LinkedIn at Tracy S. Lee. I'm the CEO of a company called This.Labs. I love doing things related to JavaScript, application development, and we are hiring. So if you are interested, definitely hit me up on Twitter or LinkedIn. It's 100% remote. We have a global team. We're looking for senior project leads and architects, or you can just email jobs at this.co as well. I am a Google developer expert for Angular. I'm also on the ArcsJS core team. I'm a Microsoft MVP and a GitHub Star LM. So I'm really excited about all the new things in Angular. For example, there is the new documentation, and this is the new home for Angular for any of those who are wondering. Angular.dev. You can scroll it, you can check it out. But if you want to learn Angular, this is basically the place to be. Material. So this was kind of funny because until Angular 17 was released, I wasn't really paying attention. Honestly, I haven't been paying attention to Material 3 for quite some time, but it was introduced by Google in 2021 when all of us were still sleeping. Material 3 is actually now stable in Angular 18. It's actually backwards compatible with Material 2 as well. So, the great part about it is you have to do less code refactoring to make it work in your application. I also have two links down here, m3.material.io to learn more about Material 3, and then also the documentation and guide to figure out how to theme your apps with Material 3. So, uh, if y'all look at the Material 2 part of this, you can see that it looks a little bit old. It looks like the old web. And then Material 3 looks like the new web. So that is pretty cool in my opinion. And I want to kind of show you guys again kind of what that looks like. So you can see Material 2 from a design perspective. This is what it looks like. Material 3 all of a sudden bigger, more beautiful, different font. And again, the buttons are all different, everything like that too. So it's really fun to kind of go check out the different components and everything and figure out like what the new design standards are because that's basically what we see on the internet, right? I also want to show you guys a code example of kind of what that looks like. So for this presentation, I've built this little app. I want to show you all the app first. Let me see if I can do that. Let me go ahead and present, share my screen. And we are going to go to my app. Where's my app? I will find it, I promise. Lady Lead AI Chat. It's a Chrome tab. I have some Chrome tabs open. Let's see. There it is. Okay, it's an NX tab. So it took me a second to find it. So you'll actually see right here, this is my app, and it is in Angular Material 2. So it looks old. Doesn't look pretty. Sorry, I had to cough there. Um, but you can check it out. And basically, I want to show you guys in the code as well, kind of what that looks like. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then I'm going to go ahead and share my code. Let's go ahead into window. Let's go in here. And then you'll see over here. So this is material 2 and material 3. So we're basically importing material over here. And I'll tell you that all I have to do is basically add defining my theme over here. So you can see here where I've defined my material 2 theme over here. We're all familiar with primary, accent, and worn and the different colors. But over here, I've defined a yellow palette. Font is Roboto, and then I've basically included this backwards compatibility thing. So this is actually really cool. I want to show you guys how cool it is because I think one of the reasons why I was really excited about using this app and the app I've built, by the way, is because I'm really excited about using AI. So I can just, copy paste this, open up GitHub Copilot and say, what does this code do? And then I can copy paste the code right there. And you'll actually see that GitHub Copilot is just telling me exactly what it's doing. So here over here, it's defining a color palette, typography. This is the density. What does density do? Um, defines theme to all material components, et cetera, right? This mixin is likely to be used for backward compatibility for older color variants in the theme. Exciting, right? So it really takes a lot of guesswork out of having to Google things and things like that if you just need a little bit of love. So I really enjoy that. Okay, so anyways, I added in my material 3 over here. I'm gonna go ahead and press save, and then we're gonna go back to our app. And would you know it that it is going to be, hopefully, crossing fingers, in material 3. Ta-da! Look how pretty it is. Look how pretty these buttons are. Look at that. They're so different. Okay, and I just kind of want to walk through this little app here really quickly. So I haven't updated this app to be Angular 18 because Angular 18 was literally just released. So I haven't fed it the information it needs to know. But this is an app that's using basic RAG. So give you guys a little example of what that is. Shout out to Carter from AstraDB for giving a little chat with me and kind of helping me understand how he's explaining it as well. So this is connecting to OpenAI, and I'm just using ChatGPT to build a little Angular GPT. So I'm using ChatGPT. It's coming back and telling me what it is. So that's the generation part of it. The A part of it, the augmentation part of it is I'm telling this app, the ChatGPT specifically, that it should be an Angular superfan. And then what I'm doing is I'm using R, so retrieval, and I'm using AstraDB under the hood for that. Um, and what we're doing is we're going and feeding ChatGPT all of the different information, and it's able to query a vector database and find the information about what's going on in Angular 17 so that it will know exactly what it's doing. So, um, let me go ahead and show you guys what I mean. So you can say, what is the lastest? Oh, thank you, typo. What's the latest syntax of Angular? And you can go here. It's thinking and it's control flow syntax in Angular 17. So again, ChatGPT doesn't know this. The only reason it knows this is because it's actually querying a vector database that I set up that feeds it all the information about Angular 17. And I'll show you guys that code in just a second as well. I don't know if you guys can tell that I'm a little bit sick. It's very exciting, but I just didn't want to miss this event. So I'm going to go ahead and present again, but now I'm going to go ahead and show my code. Feel like this is a little, detour from Angular, but it's exciting to again see it in implementation. So, I showed you the material 3 stuff, but you're probably curious about where I'm basically scraping things and loading it in. So this is pretty cool. So it's over here. This is basically just a little script that you can run, and this is all the information I fed it. So I fed it all this Angular data. I didn't feed it that much data. I could have fed it more, sure, fine. But if you want an explanation, you can just copy paste this, go over to my little chat bar and say, "Hi, explain this code to me." And I copy pasted. And GitHub Copilot is telling me all the amazing things. So what it's doing is it's scraping web pages, splitting the script content into chunks, embedding the chunks using the Cohere API, and then storing the embedded chunks into a collection in AstraDB. And again, so sorry about the coughing. Um, and here you go. It's telling me all the modules I need to import, all the environmental variables, like the API keys, a list of the URLs. Again, this is so cool, right? Because you can basically create your own. It's so amazing. Um, and again, shout out to Carter from uh, Data Stacks again for creating like a Taylor Swift GPT, which is kind of what this is based off as well. So this is basic, this is how to get the information into your app. Then you go to app component and you'll see over here, like I can just go here and here and say, what is this code doing? Um, and I would highly recommend you all actually to check out this 3-hour coding session that me and Ben did. We created something very similar to this app. We did it in gosh, what did we do it in? We created an NX, but we used v0.dev as well, so it's pretty fun. But this tells you everything it does. So, anyways, I digress. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off really quickly and go back to my presentation. But again, as you can see, I'm very excited about all the capabilities of AI. It's so exciting. Okay, so we left off on the code example for material 3. I'm gonna go ahead and talk to you about the declarative control flow syntax now. So the great thing about this is that there's ability to have cleaner templates. So you can actually just write if, else if, for, and switch statements just in your code. It really reduces a lot of the different overhead of like toggling between the template and TypeScript. And I love that the Angular team again has just made it so easy with automatic migration. I mean, it is just purely magical. And you can look at it here. So this is an example, right, of kind of what we had to do before or what you're probably maybe still doing now. And then look, you can just write a little switch statement right here, and it's so beautiful. Now, I want to show you what that looks like as well in the code. Let's see, going back to my screen. Share screen. It's actually harder to do online presentations because you have to like toggle between all the different windows and everything like that. But let's go ahead and go into my app component and, my HTML, and over here you can see I'm just have an if else statement right there, boom, done. And that's how beautiful the declarative control flow syntax can be for your app too. So I highly recommend again, check it out, migrating if you haven't already, ask questions, team is amazing, so they're happy to share information with you or troubleshoot with you. Okay, signals. Signals is such a hot topic. The reason why I wanted to talk a little bit about signals is because I feel like there's just been so much confusion about signals. When signals first came out, it was very much like, oh, this replaces RxJS, and it doesn't. But I just wanted to kind of share what signals is. So signals basically just knows when something's changed. It really reacts to a completion of operations like API calls or and updates the UI. It allows you to manage user input so you can update the UI based on user interactions. And it allows you to coordinate data flow. So being able to share data between components and everything. Now, I was talking to Ben about this. And of course, being the creator of ArcGIS, he was like, oh my God, let me have a conversation about this. So as I was putting this together, he went off and you can find this thread on Twitter if you like. But it's actually incredibly useful, and I went ahead and summarized it here. The last conference talk I gave, Manfred loved this presentation, so I'm so happy it was useful to some people. Um, but basically, observables are just composable functions with guarantees, right? So you can use this for cancellation and event coordination. Previously, a lot of people were using observables for state management, but now with signals, it's recommended to use signals for state management instead. um, Observables are generally stateless. They have multiple values. Signals maintain state and they have a single value. With observables, you push n values. With signals, you read one value. Um, should you convert an observable to a signal? Yes. Should you convert a signal to an observable? that is avoidable, so probably not. There's a lot of information about how people use signals. Like Tim, for example, I really love the stuff that he's been doing. You can check out his signal forms as well. Definitely check that out. And I want to show you guys signals in action. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and present. And I'm going to present my code this time if I can find it. There we go. Okay. So here is basically us using signals. Um, you can go to this app component over here, and then you can actually see three signals. So these are three writable signals, and then you have a computable signal, and that basically does these things. Um, so that basically connects to what I just showed you over here, right here. And again, if you want to find out more, I mean, I think for beginners, it's been interesting talking to people who are using GitHub Copilot, because a lot of people use GitHub Copilot just kind of in line to write code, right? Like it can, reason about kind of or predict what you want to write. However, I think it's much harder for beginners when, maybe you're getting familiar with code or just starting out your code journey. But I love this because it basically helps explain some of the code to you. So you can say, this line creates a signal named thinking and it initialize with the value false. A signal is a type of variable that can notify subscribers when the its value changed. Right. So again, giving you a great example on kind of what GitHub Copilot can do for you. I should have put this in my talk description that I'll be talking about this. But again, okay, sorry, I forgot to tell you. So if you look over here, right, you can see that I'm using signals in my code. But the cool thing about this is I'm not having to use any Angular forms, reactive forms, anything like that, right? I'm not having to use any of that. I'm just literally writing signals, right? And then boom. So that is kind of the cool part as well, right? Like signals allow you to write much less code and do things a little bit closer to, I don't know, maybe writing less Angular. Everyone wants to write less code, right? So, anyways, I digress. Let's go ahead and go back to the presentation. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. I went ahead and showed you the code example for signals. Now let's talk about deferrable views a little bit. Oh my gosh. But before we do that, I guess I have to go back and actually show you guys how cool this app is. So let me do that first because, I'm about to end my presentation and I just want to show you guys. I kind of explained what I'm doing with RAG. And so you've seen this Angular GPT, right? And I didn't show you guys how signals works in here. So you can see that this signal here, it's just waiting for a question. I can add a question, latest syntax in Angular. I can click send and it's thinking. And then all of a sudden it's outputting something for me, right? It's telling me what to do. So that is cool. I think another really cool thing about the fact that this is basically, using RAG is that I went ahead, in my code, I had told told this chatbot what it was. I told it that it was an Angular superfan. But it is kind of cool that you can basically say like, um, talk like a cowboy. So I'm adding that into my server. Um, I feel like I should show you guys what that looks like, but we're running out of time, so I won't be able to do that. But if I ask it another question, we're hoping that it talks like a cowboy. Again, I just changed a little bit line and added, and you can see this is showing me that I'm able to do the A part of RAG. I'm able to augment what ChatGPT is and tell it that it is a cowboy. So pretty exciting. Okay, let's move on to the rest of the presentation. Okay. Now let's go to deferrable views. Okay, so deferrable views. Um, I love the internet and I love the community because everyone's basically doing the same thing. I mean, I feel like deferrable views is very similar to islands, very similar to quick. If you've heard of those, definitely buzzwords out in the community right now. But basically, what I love about it is um, framework authors are allowing us to have performance by default. So deferrable views are now stable in Angular 18. You can actually lazy load components directly into a section of your template. So you can lazy load components, directives, and pipes. So what that does is it allows you to reduce the initial bundle size. Uh, it allows for prefetching. There's less boilerplate, and you can see over here that basically it's using the new syntax as well, right? So you can see this defer right here, placeholder, and I mean, boom, done. Server-side rendering has been a hot thing as well. Basically, no more Angular Universal. Server-side rendering is directly integrated into Angular CLI. You can just run ng add Angular SSR, and it will automatically update with ng update. Um, Faster build times, which is yay, and you can learn a lot more on angular.dev at /guide/server-side rendering. So we learned a lot today. I hope you all had fun. It was like a little bit of a mix between Rag and Angular and all those other fun things, but we should definitely hang out. You can check me out again on Twitter at Lady Elite. You can always email me directly or find me on LinkedIn. I'm so happy to be a part of this conference. Thank you so much for having me, and we'll see you next time.